Test 1, 2. Okay. Good evening. I like the way the hush descended upon the audience. Thank you all for being here. It is the regularly scheduled December board meeting of the Bonsall Unified School District trustees. And we will start with a roll call, starting with our student trustee.
Isla Nicknom, present.
Eric Ortega, present.
Roger Murchat here.
Michael Gaddis here.
And Larissa Anderson here. And if we could all rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. And if I could ask our student board representative to lead that, please. To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. It's so nice to have all the students in the audience today to actually have those voices lend themselves to the pledge. So thank you all for being here. Looking forward to the performance that we have scheduled. Previous to being here for open session, the board met in closed session where we considered the appointment, employment, evaluation of performance, discipline, transfer, or dismissal of employees, Government Code 54957. Discussed the position regarding collective bargaining with the Bonsall Teachers Association and the California School Employees Association, Chapter 703, in order to direct the superintendent as chief negotiator in the matter of BTA and CSEA contracts, as well as public employee performance evaluation per Government Code 54957, the superintendent evaluation. And that brings us to approval of the current agenda. Is there a motion?
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously, bringing us to the minutes for the special meeting of November 7th, as well as the regular meeting of November 13th. Is there a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously, bringing us to our reports. And we will kick off our reports this evening with our superintendent, Dr. Heather Golly.
Good evening, Board of Representatives. Thank you so much for being here. And Mrs. McInerney, it is my pleasure to welcome you to the December board meeting. And I heard the appropriate response when that picture came up from the audience. Aww, right? That's exactly what we want to hear. And the reason that I wanted to start with this picture is exactly that response. I wanted a reminder, as you stare into the faces of our precious students, I wanted a reminder of why we do this work and why this work that we do is such an incredible privilege. Our students inspire us to keep learning, to keep improving, and to keep believing in what's possible. And as a district and as a board, of course, our responsibility is to honor that privilege by ensuring that every single decision we make puts students at the center. And I have to say, I've been reminded more and more recently of how grateful I am that we are in a district where the leaders and the community puts students at the center of every decision. So you're welcome for that beautiful picture. And of course, I also like to ground us in our framework for the future, because this guides our decisions and our priorities with everything that we do. And I love to ask Isla to read for us, to remind us, what is the BUSD vision?
Our vision is that all students in Bonsall Unified School District engage in rigorous and relevant learning experiences that inspire them to be productive community members, and future-ready lifelong learners.
Thank you. That's our vision. That's what we aspire to. And what is our mission? This is what we do every day to try to achieve that vision.
Our mission is that we empower all students to thrive in a positive, safe, and supportive environment through high-quality education focused on the whole learner.
Thank you. And when we say whole learner, you see those attributes in the center there. You see all of those learner profile outcomes. That's what we are seeking to foster. You see at the bottom our values in Bonsall Unified: service, innovation, collaboration, integrity. All of that together as a framework guides what we do. I also want to remind you of our theme. Once again, I see so many examples of this on a daily basis of what it means to belong, believe, and achieve in Bonsall Unified. And it's really important to highlight what we're doing that's aligned to that framework. And since it is December, and actually before we get too far into it, It is an important announcement that I wanted to share, that tonight at the annual organizational meeting, the board appointed Dr. Rachel Dombrowski as BUSD trustee, Area A representative. And yes, so she is representing Area A, that is Arrowwood, Oceanside, Bonsall West area. She came and presented her interest in the position. She gave a very wonderful presentation. We're really excited to see what she's going to bring to the board. She couldn't be with us this evening at this meeting because she is faculty at Cal State San Marcos and she has to do a graduation for her students tonight, but we're excited to have her join in January, and I wanted to make sure that we made that announcement tonight so that we can welcome her when she joins us next month. Okay, so since it is December, I want to take a little bit of time in this spirit of giving and in this time when it's so important to celebrate. And I want to share some of the highlights from around our district, some of the inspiration that you will see. And I think it's really fitting that in this time of when we see a lot of celebration of spirit, it's everywhere when you walk around on all of our campuses, lots and lots of celebrations. I'm going to focus primarily on a few highlights from around the district, and I'm not going to step on the toes of Principal Calabrese and Principal Camacho. So I know that they're going to highlight a lot about their schools tonight, so I am going to let them do that. But I'll share some of the things happening around the rest of the district. Our BESTK Winter Wonderland, absolutely magical, listening to the voices of children. They put on a spectacular Winter Wonderland show, and there's just so much to celebrate there. We had wonderful representation at the Fallbrook Christmas Parade. You can see Sullivan and Bonsall High School, and I will say that our students are representing us at all levels so well in the community. Here you see them representing at the Christmas Parade. I also wanted to shout out our BHS Academy ambassadors. One of them is sitting over here, Isla Nicknom. I think she's the ambassador for the medical sciences pathway. And we had a fantastic presentation for all of the 3rd, 4th, and 5th graders at the BES Leader in Me Assembly. I think that was just last week. And our students from the high school came and shared what are their programs, what are the academies, what are the courses, got the students really excited about what they can anticipate at the secondary level. And I just appreciated how eloquent they were and what a wonderful representation it was. We also want to, of course, celebrate the continuation of our Bonsall Farm. And I wanted to highlight something that is on the consent agenda tonight, but there is a group called the Harmony Academy, and they heard a lot about what our Bonsall Farm team is doing, the lessons, hands-on activities that they're doing with our students out at the farm. And they wanted to donate $9,000 worth of curriculum and training. It's called Harmony Academy, and they're going to be training our Bonsall Farm team and infusing those lessons in that curriculum for all of our students, which is super exciting. Another December highlight, our sites are doing a fantastic job of recognizing excellence across all of our sites. This is Bonsall High School Students of the Month. They're doing this every month, recognizing students for what they are demonstrating in our learner profile outcomes. Bonsall Women's Club is also joining in those recognitions. At Sullivan, we have ROAR Awards, and we have students every month who are recognized for resiliency, organization, attitude, responsibility, and it's wonderful to see the ways that we celebrate their character. I know you'll probably hear more from our other principals here, but Bonsall West and Bonsall Elementary celebrate students for their leadership skills and also for, I think, things like weekly Colt Awards. And Vivian Banks celebrates its students for Circle of Courage traits. Lots of ways that we look at academic and character excellence, and we're recognizing that in our students, and I appreciate it. I also appreciate and just want to give a shout out here to more of our community members. This is Lieutenant Twyman. He's the new lead at the Fallbrook Sheriff's Substation, and he invited, you could see that it's today because I'm wearing my red suit. But he invited community leaders from education to their substation today for a little meet and greet, and it was great. They're really wonderful staff. They're doing so much, bless you, to celebrate and to support our students. And he talked to us about opportunities for some safety trainings that he really wants to bring to our sites. So that was great to get to connect to him. And I also want to shout out that Fallbrook Sheriff has been supporting our schools in a variety of ways. On the left there, that's Heather Mitchell. She's a crime prevention specialist with Fallbrook Sheriffs, and she has brought her team to Sullivan and to the high school for positive interactions with the kids, for Red Ribbon Week, to talk about their youth cadets program, just to try to foster some positive relationships with law enforcement and to open their eyes to some of the other support they have in the community, and we appreciate that. When I saw Heather Mitchell this morning, she wanted me to shout out that first she said, I need you to know how wonderful your team is at Sullivan at Bonsall High School. And she just talked about the students. She talked about our administration and our teachers. And she said she was so inspired that in the past, Fallbrook Sheriffs have done a toy drive to support Fallbrook students. They wanted to expand it this year to include Bonsall students. So she did want me to put up there that there's a coffee bus pop-up toy drive Tuesday, December 16th, 7:30 a.m. to 10:30 a.m. And there is more information. They're accepting donations through Friday, December 19th. But I thought it was nice to hear the kudos for our team and to know that we are, again, being represented very well. So those are some great December highlights. I also wanted, this is another example of highlights for me personally. I had such an amazing experience on December 5th and December 9th. As you know, we've been engaging in a strategic planning whole endeavor called True North 2030. And it's been a journey this year to work with our staff and with the community to try to build out our strategic plan. December 5th, these are pictures from every school site across the district at the same time on the same day, close to the same time, working with our outcomes and big moves, the drafts, and giving feedback on them. And then on December 9th, which was just this week, we had a design team meeting where we were able to look at that feedback. Thank you to Trustee Anderson and Trustee Ortega for participating. We had over 30 participants there, and it was just so energizing to be able to talk about what we envision over the next 5 years in this district with really in-depth feedback. So I appreciate that. Okay, next steps with that, just so you're aware, a design team subcommittee will be meeting to review drafts and revise the wording. And then we're going to share those with all of the staff at January 12th. And I didn't put that on there, but I will also be sharing it with the Superintendent Student Advisory Council. We'll have another one of those coming up, and I will be getting our students' feedback as well. So some great highlights, wonderful things happening around the district in December. Before we move to some pretty exciting recognitions and a performance, I wanted to just mention that in the special education department update this month, there is a whole list of parent engagement opportunities. And these are for parents who have students who are in special education. These are offered through the North Coastal Consortium for Special Education. And just to highlight a few of them, Parenting the Love and Logic Way, it's a 6-session program. I really believe that this is awesome for any parents, and I know principals will be sending this out in their newsletters as well, but I highly suggest parents to look at it. It's live online. It is zero cost to any of our families. It's a 6-session program, and it is phenomenal, and that is a great opportunity. We also have a Nixie Parent Academy, another 6-session program. This is more centered on special education and very, very helpful for parents who have a student with an IEP. And also another, this one's in person. It's on April 24th, and it's really about de-escalating challenging behaviors. It's a parent caregiver training from Crisis Prevention Institute. They're considered the gold standard for working with students on de-escalation. Zero cost to any of our parents, and it's 9 to 3. You have to register though. And because it's a consortium, sometimes these fill up. So for all of these, I highly suggest look at the department update and register. And I wanted to make sure everyone knew that that was an opportunity. Okay, so With that, I am very excited to turn it over to my team here. We've got some recognitions that we would like to provide. And the first one is for a special group of employees. I'm going to call up Mr. Alan Williams for this recognition.
Well, good evening. Today we'd like to express our deepest gratitude to our campus assistant team. That's Emily Casillas, Carmen Fuentes, Wyatt Casillas, and Jared Casillas. Could you all come forward and join me at the podium? Maybe two here, and then we'll just face the board over there. Yeah, you could just. This is a great group of folks that are watching over our students daily. This is not watching over them like guards, yet more like angels. They're helping students make good decisions, and their presence compels students not to make bad ones. They display unwavering dedication and have an incredibly positive impact on our school and district community. The attention to detail, professionalism, and critical thinking are genuinely inspiring. Over the years, your familiarity with our students, campus surroundings, and community has become second nature. The ability to anticipate situations, take proactive measures, and handle matters independently and interdependently with vigilance sets a high standard for campus safety and care. We are constantly amazed by your keen awareness and the respect and kindness displayed to everyone, students, staff, families, and community members alike. The teamwork, respect for one another, and unwavering commitment create a campus environment where safety, warmth, and trust thrive. You set the bar high, never asking for recognition, simply doing what is necessary to keep our school a safe and welcoming place. We could not do this work without you. The dedication, professionalism, and genuine care make a difference every day. We thank you so much for what you do. I know as a former site principal, it's so important to have an incredible team of campus assistants. And I know when we reached out and talked with Principal James, she was very excited for you all to be recognized tonight. And I want to thank you so much. And we have a certificate here for the team. And that certificate reads, in recognition of your unwavering dedication, professionalism, and daily commitment to keeping our students safe and supported, your presence, care, and vigilance create a campus where trust, kindness, and community truly thrive. Congratulations to you all. We're hopeful that you could stay around for, we're going to take a quick picture here. So right over here in front of your picture, let's follow Jen's lead. Okay, yes, directed right this way. And we're going to ask folks to stick around just for a moment to take one big picture. I have the clicker. This brings us to our community partner recognition. And I would like to call Chief Morardi to the front, please. Morardi, excuse me. Thank you. And give you that. Oh, wrong one. And it is my honor to recognize the remarkable partnership between Vivian Banks Charter School and the Paula Fire Department. This is more than a collaboration. It has become a true extension of the school family. Throughout the year, the Paula Fire Department has shown extraordinary commitment to the Vivian Banks Charter School students, families, and staff. Their firefighters don't just stop by, they show up in full force. It is not uncommon to see 10 to 12 firefighters volunteering on our campus, engaging with students, and supporting our events. Their presence has become a meaningful part of our school culture and says so much about the care they extend to the community. Their service has taken many forms. This year alone, several firefighters were trained by our MTSS teacher so that they could volunteer weekly in our Everyone a Reader program, sitting side by side with students and helping them grow as readers. They grilled hundreds of hot dogs at the back-to-school barbecue and connected with families. They cooked and supported food sales at the family movie night. They ran carnival booths, volunteered at school-wide events, and helped bring excitement and joy to the campus. They also participated in the school's literacy night to promote reading, welcomed our students to the fire station for hands-on learning, provided backpacks and supplies for students, and joined us in honoring those lost during the 9/11 Remembrance Ceremony. And those are just some of the highlights. Their support extends far beyond any list. What matters most is the impact. Their consistent investment shows our students what generosity, leadership, and service looks like. They model the very values we teach through our circle of courage, belonging, generosity, independence, and mastery. And for our students, these firefighters are not just helpers, they are mentors and role models. On behalf of Vivian Banks Charter School, Principal Calabrese, and the Bonsall Unified School District, we extend our deepest gratitude to the Paula Fire Department. Your dedication strengthens our school, uplifts our students, and reflects the true spirit of community. We're incredibly fortunate to have you as part of the Vivian Banks family, and certainly to Bonsall Unified School District. Thank you so much.
Okay, so impressive, as is this next community partner recognition that I'm very excited to present. I'd like to call up, please, Juliana Hesselgesser. I'm going to read some things about you, okay? It is my privilege to recognize, and those are great pictures, a really extraordinary Bonsall Unified parent whose vision, compassion, and leadership have made a really profound impact on families across our district. Last year, Juliana conceived of and coordinated what was called a Hope for the Holidays Gently Used and New Toy Drive, a project that really embodies the very best of what a caring community can do together. And last Saturday, December 6th, she and her team, including the Bonsall Education Foundation and our BUSD Community Engagement Team, hosted an incredibly successful second annual Hope for the Holidays Toy Drive. What I find so special, and I got to come and see this in action, what I find so special is that Juliana brought forward an idea that was totally rooted in generosity. And through a lot of hard work, stress, sounds like some sleepless nights, and a lot of collaboration, she transformed it into a joyful, deeply meaningful experience for so many children. It was a really impressive organization, and beautiful heart. She rallied volunteers. She collaborated with Bonsall High School students, with BEF members, with community liaison Leonor Rodriguez and the CEI team. She worked side by side with them to create a really welcoming, dignified shopping experience where families could select items at no cost. Thanks to her leadership, was the number nearly 120 families? 110 kids were served, okay? And each was greeted with kindness, with support, and with the spirit of the season. We had volunteers here wrapping gifts, volunteers carrying items to the cars, and all of them ensuring that every parent left feeling grateful and every child received something very special. What stands out most is not just the scale of this effort, but the spirit behind it. Juliana represents the heart of Bonsall Unified: service, collaboration, and a beautiful commitment to caring for every family in our community. She saw a need, she brought people together, and she created something very special. And if you haven't seen it yet, there's a great little video where she was talking about one of our students who, in front of the school where all of the toys were being collected, came up and asked what were the toys there for. And she explained, well, that's so that we can provide, you might have toys at home that maybe you're not using anymore. And think about how nice it would be if you had a friend or someone else who gets to benefit from that. And the little girl, as she's speaking, from what I understand, starts to take off her necklace to put it into the bin. And so sweet. And I know that on social media, she said, if this is your daughter, we just need to commend you because you are raising a beautiful child. And I would argue that you are modeling for that child in so many ways what the spirit of this season is and how to, as I said here, this is our definition of service. We act with integrity while supporting our community with pride and compassion. That's the Bonsall Unified definition of service, and you truly embody that. So today happens to also be her birthday. So can we give a huge round of applause? And a big, let's just all say it. We don't have to sing it, but say happy birthday. Happy birthday. Yes. And I want to thank you for the incredible gift to our community that you have provided. So you're amazing. Oh my God. I want to share this. This is in appreciation of your vision, commitment, and exemplary service in leading the Hope for the Holidays toy drive. Your generosity has brought joy and kindness to Bonsall Unified families and beautifully reflects the values and spirit of our district community. So this is for you. Okay, we have one last introduction here to a special performance that we've all been looking forward to. I'm going to bring up Dr. Veronica Pendleton.
Good evening, board. We are in for a treat. Tonight, we are honored to highlight one of the most meaningful components of our middle school programming, music education. In Bonsall Unified, we believe that music is not simply an elective, it's an essential part of developing confidence, creativity, and connected learners. Through choir, our students learn discipline, collaboration, and emotional expression, and the joy of creating something beautiful together. These experiences enrich their lives, strengthen their well-being, and build a sense of belonging that we know is critical during the middle school years. This evening, our middle school choir students will be sharing a performance that represents weeks of dedication, practice, and teamwork under the guidance of their talented choir director, Ms. Pecor. They have grown not only as musicians, but also as leaders and collaborators. So please join me in welcoming our Sullivan Middle School Choir as they share their voices and their pride in representing Bonsall Unified School District.
Gina and our principal for inviting us tonight to bring in the holiday spirit. So I want to say thank you to our incredible choir and Mrs. Stacy Zakor. We're going to love, hopefully, a big picture with the board up here, and then after that we take a recess. So thank you all for bringing your children here tonight, and thank you for everybody else who was recognized. I think we'll do a quick little recess. You probably have to do the official. Okay. Everybody's going to hold. Hit a gavel. We're going to take a quick recess for some photo opportunities, and it is right now 6:46. We'll resume back at 6:52.
Or to go with the photo op. Or all right, board members, find your window.
Ida.
See you later. Have a good night.
Rock and roll, Daddy-O.
Yeah. I agree with her. Yes.
Okay. Thank you, everybody, for staying. That was a lovely and delightful and ringing in of the holidays with beautiful music of our students, and that was a joy to behold. We're now at our reports from our groups. Do we have anybody here from any of our parent groups to report? PTA, PTO, PING? Okay. And I know I see labor in the house. Bonsall Teachers Association, Ms. Jen Ariano.
Good evening, esteemed trustees and Superintendent Gully and Mrs. McInerney. I just want to say that it has been a day of joy. Started off at the TK Winter Wonderland. Oh my goodness, it was a ball of joy. Those teachers had those TKers singing, dancing, shaking things, rattles, choreography. As a former theater director, I was duly impressed. And they're only 4, so that's amazing. And then at the end, we see our older students performing, and it's so wonderful. It's just so wonderful to be a part of education. It's too bad that the state doesn't fund it properly. Look what we could do, just look what we do with what we have and what we could do if we had a better system that prioritized students the way everyone in this room values and prioritizes our students. Anyway, I have nothing else to say but happy holidays, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. Can't wait to meet the new board trustee, and wishing us all the best. Onwards and upwards, Bonsall.
Thank you. CSCA, Ms. Harris Starkweather.
Good evening, board members, Ms. McInerney, and Superintendent Golly. I don't really have much to report. We're just going through some negotiations for some MOUs, and we're hoping to get a calendar committee started in January. But right now, everything seems to be running smoothly on the classified staff. I appreciate again all you do. Looking forward to meeting our new board member. Thank you for all you do, and happy holidays.
And that now brings us to our management reports. Do we have an order for who's up first? All right, Mr. Camacho, Bonsall West.
Thank you, thank you. Good evening, Board President Anderson, school board members, Ms. Gina, Dr. Gawley. I'm honored to share some exciting updates from our school as we continue to build a strong foundation for success. I will touch on the work that we dove into. I know it was a little bit in your slides. Our dedicated teachers and staff really took to this on a Friday. It's always difficult to, after a busy week and the holidays and everybody's, dealing with different deadlines. And so they really did work hard and contributing to our True North, our BUSD True North 2030 initiative. They collaborated collaborated to provide thoughtful input on the district's long-term outcomes, student outcomes, and the big moves, as Dr. Gawley had stated. Their insights really did help to ensure that we're getting their voice and their thoughts. And like I know Board President Anderson talked about how they were really wanting the alignment and how we are as a district unified in so many areas. So that was a highlight and a big aha. As a site leader, I always remember what it's like to teach and to have to go to the PDs and staff meetings, but I was very impressed by the work that they put in and the time that they were involved and engaged. And thank you for showing up. Mrs. Adams was there to participate and to be a support system for us. So thank you so much. So now let's get into the attendance. I'd like to review the California. We know that attendance is important. We got to get our kids there. You saw why our kids are showing up by having these opportunities of music, dance, art, Streamlabs, and so I'm going to highlight a few of those areas, but I'd like to share that I'm very proud to recognize that, and our current average daily attendance this year is at 97% strong, and that's strong because I say we do have a lot of kids who are out, who are also going because they're sick this month, getting the flu and such, but they are going on the independent study contracts and they're getting the work done, and so that just shows that they want to do the work and they want to be successful. So let's go into our dashboard summary for Bonsall West. Our recent California dashboard results show strong overall performance across key academic and attendance indicators. So as you can see here, chronic absenteeism decreased by 3.6%, reflecting improved student attendance and engagement. And the way that we're going now, the challenge that my attendance clerk has put on herself to make sure we're getting those independent study contracts, I think we're gonna blow this up this year. So continued success thanks to a strong and hardworking staff. The next slide shows our English language arts increased by 4.1%, indicating notable academic growth. Our mathematics performance demonstrated continued stability and progress. Our fifth grade, sorry, let me go one more. Our fifth grade science, they did experience a 3.5% decline, but still remained within the green performance band. So despite minor fluctuations, all reported areas remained in the green performance bands, highlighting consistent and strong performance across the board. We are already engaged in targeted interventions with our MTSS TOSA and supports to continue improving those outcomes. In November, our Leader in Me Student of the Month Award, Habit 3, Put First Things First. We recognize students who truly put first things first. These students showed they can focus on what matters most, manage their time wisely, and prioritize important tasks. They are leaders who make sure actions match their goals, and we were proud to celebrate their hard work and responsibility. The lighting was bad on that, sorry about that. Community engagement and service highlights. Our scholars continue to demonstrate that academic excellence goes hand in hand with compassion and community leadership. This month, they put our Streamlab to meaningful use by designing and creating a quilt that was donated to Children's Hospital, offering comfort to young patients and their families. In addition, our students led 2 major service efforts, a school-wide food drive and a baby supply drive for supporting military families affected by the recent government shutdown. Their dedication reflects a powerful message. Our scholars believe in giving a hand up, not a handout, and they consistently step forward to support those in need. And a lot of these initiatives come from our students through our Leader in Me program led by Miss Andy, who's very compassionate about doing things for others and creating these leaders, which match up with what our staff continues to strive to do. And with these initiatives, like I said, not only strengthen our community, but also build empathy, responsibility, and real-world purpose in every scholar. Now, this is one of my favorites, Meet the Puppeteer. Right before Thanksgiving break, students explored the history of Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade through the story of famed puppeteer Tony Sarge and his groundbreaking balloon designs. During a virtual field trip, they watched videos, answered questions, and learned about puppetry, parade routes, balloon design, and how to scale models, and how scale models are created. They also compared the very first Macy's parade balloons with the giant innovative designs we see today. The students gained inspiration for their own balloon creations. After sketching and designing their original balloons, they wrapped up their learning with a festive parade around the school, complete with the student-made balloon masterpieces. And I'll show you some of the pictures, and you can see their faces. They're very proud. This happens to be my daughter's class, 3rd grade class, and she does this every year, so I was really excited for this project to see how excited my own daughter got at home, and the story she shared about how they designed them, and then how excited all of the kids were to do the parade around campus. Oops, let me go back. That was not enough time for them. There we go. Give them a little time. Oh, there she is. My daughter's on the far right, top right. Little Milo on the bottom. And then, to put a bow on this presentation, this is our TK and Kinder classes giving thanks with their nutrition services Thanksgiving feast, which they look forward to, because I get to act like I'm the cookie monster and hand out the cookies. I don't know if they like that the best, but the meal itself, amazing. Amazing. So thank you, Nutrition Services, for taking care of our kids. And then we show how our kids are giving thanks by those faces. And here's our upcoming dates. Student of the Month awards are taking place tomorrow. We have our PTA sponsored luncheon for staff next Friday, minimum day. And then we have winter break for much needed rest. Thank you. Have a good evening. Happy holidays. And I'll see you next time.
Thank you, Mr. Camacho. And I just wanted to, a little birdie mentioned that today is your birthday. So if we can have, in Rotary spirit, we have Rotary on Thursday mornings. We just sing the very first line. So if we can just do a happy birthday to you.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, and that now brings us to our Vivian Banks and Bonsall Virtual Academy report. Ms. Gina Calabrese.
Thank you so much, esteemed board, Dr. Gali, audience, and of course, Ms. Gina. This has been a really busy couple of months for us. When I was putting the slideshow together, I know there's a lot of slides, so I'll try not to fatigue anybody, but a lot of exciting things happening over at Vivian Banks. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful location. So our jogathon happened. It was supposed to rain. Luckily, we missed the rain. It was tight there though, because custodian was very concerned walking around the track. It's going to be flooded. So I was constantly doing, water checks and things like that. But we were all able to get out there. You can see how excited our students are to just get out there and get at it. I'm going to be sharing some more about our running club later in the presentation. But tomorrow I'm going to be awarding a student who has run 45 miles. 45. Since the start of the school year in about a 10-minute period before school every day. 45 miles. How? I don't even know. It's amazing. So the turkey trot was incredibly successful. We raised, $2,100. So for a school of only 53 students, that's pretty impressive, I'd say. And if you look over here to the right, you see one of our students at our weekly Student of the Month or week assemblies. Our students get awarded for focusing on the trait of the week. They also get our Lexia Awards. That's the little guy with the cape and the mask. Lexia is a research-based reading program that our students participate in 4 days a week with one of our wonderful Paula hired teachers that comes over and works with our students. She is amazing. And our students, when they pass a level, get to don the mask and don the cape. And sometimes the students don't want to do it, but when they do, it's pretty spectacular. But we were in the news, so I want to share this. I'm going to hope I might ask for Chris's assistance by clicking on that 10 news. So we are trending in the news, and oops, nope. Is it not hyperlinked? There's supposed to be like a little, is it not going to work? Maybe on the 10? Shoot. I know the hyperlink was put in there. Oh, darn. Okay. Well, I'll talk about it then. So Jared Aarons came out from ABC News, courtesy of Jen Ariano, for an ABC Literacy event. And if you can watch it on YouTube, it was pretty fun to watch how excited he was. He even learned, hopefully, the correct way to say thank you in Capeño, Mr. Ortega. Kicham, yep. And so he was so excited to learn that word that day. But we were also on Res Radio. So that picture right there of our very own Eric Ortega with the community engagement team. The broadcast will be, I believe, this Monday, correct, Mr. Ortega? And it was a really exciting time, a lot of exciting questions that Mr. Ortega asked all the different community members. And I was very fortunate to get to share what's going on over at Vivian Banks. So I'm going to take us back in time to October. So the last time we spoke was in September, excuse me. We had some wonderful events. We had a movie night, a little bit of movie time under the stars. We got to watch Night at the Museum. And you can see our amazing Paula firefighters right there. They grilled a ton of hot dogs for that event too. We also had them slinging nachos and selling candy, and the students really loved the glow sticks that they got to swing around and share with everybody. We had some dress-up days, and we had a Halloween mask parade. That's what is in the bottom left-hand corner right there. In that top left-hand corner, that was one of the dress-up days where the students were superheroes, and they were saying no to drugs that week. So that is what that was. And then you can see in the top right-hand corner, one of our excited students, he got the Lexia Moving Up Level award that day, and he decided to wear his mask to our movie night, which was wonderful. Our students are amazing leaders, and I wanted to kind of highlight a couple of our amazing student leaders and what they're able to do. So the Circle of Courage traits that Dr. Gawley mentioned earlier in the presentation is something that we strive for every single day, and our students are recognized. They earn Circle of Courage cards, parents are called, students get announced on their daily announcements for helping, giving that spirit of generosity, showing those leadership traits. But the Mickey Mouse Gloves has been something, and I know I mentioned it at the previous board meeting, but the number of students that want to come and greet students in the morning keeps growing. We actually are having to put a limit on it. So it used to be you had to, there was 2 gloves and you got to do it with us, but then now the students are sharing gloves and they're getting so excited. I'm going to Disneyland again this weekend. I'll probably buy another pair of gloves because the kids are like, you need more gloves, because they just get so excited. And it's really sweet because what ends up happening is the students are getting excited about coming to school. This week, tomorrow, we'll recognize 42 students who had perfect attendance. 42 out of 53, that's a pretty darn high number, right? And our students are excited to be there because they have this sense of belonging. They are welcomed and greeted. Everybody's fighting over who gets to high-five them first with or high-four the students with the Mickey Mouse gloves. But our students also get to do daily announcements. So we've created an Eagle Pledge where the students recite it daily, and it's so encouraging to hear them talk about how they are important and they are strong and they can be helpful and they can do hard things. And you're gonna love my iReady scores, by the way. Next, I started looking at them right before I came over here, and I'm like, yes. You're not gonna see the giant jumps in the green areas like you do on Mr. Camacho's and Miss Fortney's presentations, but what I look forward to is the growth, and that's what you see. But our students are doing daily announcements there. The reason that student has a crown on is it was her birthday that day. And then over to the left-hand side, those are our principals for the day. So we had Principal Daniela and Principal Christina because they raised the most money in our jogathon. They raised over $400, so that was pretty exciting for them. And they got to they got to guide our teachers, they got to guide our staff, our students, and they also got to have a special lunch with a friend, which is really cool. I wanted to jump to our next slide because it's not just our students who are learning, it's also our staff. So I was very fortunate to go along with one of our staff members, Miss Mallory Burstein, to the National Johnson O'Malley Conference. It happens to be the 30th anniversary this year, which it's also Vivian Banks' 30th anniversary this year, as I think you all know, because I brought it up a couple of times. But this wonderful conference was such an amazing gathering in Colorado. So we had a wonderful keynote speaker, Roseanne Amberson. We had people from all over the country, from all different tribes, representing different types of schools and really celebrating this Johnson O'Malley grant, which I learned started in 1934, and it's designed to provide a lot of enrichment for our or Native students who are at tribal and public schools. And so what was really wonderful was they had all sorts of breakout sessions. They even had bingo, and I actually won. I never win, but it was so exciting just to be in a room with people that were all there for the same reason, and that is to really support our Native American students, our Native learners. Over to the right kind of times nicely with our 30th anniversary. These are our t-shirt contest winners. We have our 30th anniversary, as I've mentioned, but we wanted to design a new t-shirt. So this is our special 30th anniversary shirt. The bottom right was done by a second grader, pretty impressive, I think. And that is the shirt that won. So that will be the front part of the shirt, and then we all loved this other shirt. This was a second place winner, so we're going to be putting that on the back of the shirt. But if you can see, it says Eagles on each side and Go Eagles, and it's just a really fun representation of how our kids kind of perceive the school. But the selections were really hard. There was one very intricate design that had this amazing centerpiece, and our students are just so talented. It's insane. ABC Literacy Event. So I want to talk a little bit about this one. Our students loved, like I said, hearing from Jared Abrams. I really encourage you to listen to that little podcast that he did. Our students ended up not only hearing stories from Mr. Ahrens, they also got to select not one, not two, not three, but 6 new books for their libraries at home. And some of the comments that our students said was, oh, now I have books at home. Some of our kids said that this was the best day ever. Some of our students even selected books for their younger brothers and sisters to take home. And it just was one of those heartwarming events. And our students were so wonderful that day and just so excited. You can see the joy on their faces. They just loved it. They were able to select all their books, and it was stacks and stacks and stacks of books, and it was just a wonderful event. But it is important really to celebrate that literacy. And our literacy night was amazing. We had a Native American theme, so we had a book blanket swap. We had Mr. Ortega's sister who stopped by, which was really neat. I didn't realize Mr. Ortega's sister was going to stop by. It was a nice surprise, but she was one of our community elder readers, and she read some Native American stories to our students. We had a free pizza dinner for our families. We had our Paula firefighters there. They were helping to serve, and when I say they were helping to serve, they will not eat until everybody has eaten firsts and seconds and thirds of everything. They just are incredible service members, and we just appreciate them so much. All of our teachers came up with a different station. We had trilingual bookmarks that were translated in English, Spanish, and Capeño that students could decorate. We had sentence building. We had fishing for sight words. We had so many different opportunities for the kids. We even had tattoos, little book tattoos. And we had about 12 high school students that came and volunteered their time as well. It's been fantastic to have that support of the community for these different events. Even though we're a small school, it can be tiring for teachers to always put on events. And so that was one of the things that they had asked me for this year is we want to do the events, we want to celebrate with our families, but we can't always do all the events. And so they still come to all the events, but taking some of the little stress off of them has been amazing. But it was a really wonderful, engaging event and just a lot of fun, just a lot of pure fun. Our book fair also happened. We raised $2,100. Again, if you do the math, 53 students, $2,100, that's phenomenal. And the students enjoyed it so much. This is Miss Anna Batista. She's an amazing media clerk, and she really helps us to get that library in shape. And it just wasn't possible without her and Miss Nancy getting that library set up. Again, we couldn't do it without our community partners. Our community partners are fantastic. Up in the top left-hand corner, that was for our Say No to Drugs Week. We had assemblies that were put on and paid for and sponsored by our social services department at Paula. They purchased backpacks. Our students, I think, have received 4 or 5 backpacks this year. It's been pretty fantastic. They gave them Red Ribbon Week shirts. They gave them flashlights. They had a whole backpack filled with wonderful activities and things for them to do. They also had a great message about friendship, about not bullying anyone, and then we all signed the banner to say no to drugs. The bottom left, underneath that banner, was the EPA-sponsored recycling races. Our students really are very competitive, and they love doing the recycling races with them. Again, Miss Angela, Mr. Ortega's sister right there, this was really cute. She came in and she's like, I'm here to read. And there was a group of high schoolers there that had brought their little siblings. And I'm like, how about if you sit down with Miss Angela and listen? And those boys stayed there and listened to the whole story with her. It was fantastic. Those books that are up there on top of that piano, those were all donated by the San Diego County Office of Ed. They're all Native American books that kind of lent to our theme of Native American themed literacy night. Again, I think I mentioned the book blanket book swap, excuse me, it's hard to say 3 times fast. But that was for our students to bring in a book from home and they could exchange it for a new book. We also had books that were donated as well that they were able to receive another free book. So a lot of literacy going on. That center picture is the EPA coming to do a planting assembly. And if you come onto our campus, you'll see probably, I think there's 7 of those large planters that are filled with already full-grown plants. They came not just with seeds, they came with full plants so the kids could get that experience of what it's like. And that they have been sponsoring all of our assemblies, our hands-on student assemblies this year. The right-hand bottom corner, that was a grant-written field trip from the Natural History Museum from San Diego. That was given to us, or gifted to us, I should say, from the Learning Center. And the top of that is our trilingual bookmarks that we thought were pretty amazing. All right. Data. So I mentioned a little bit that when you see the data, you're not going to go, oh, amazing. But when I look at it, I go, oh, amazing. Because one student at the beginning of the year on Lexia data, now this is that research-based program that I was talking to you about that has a focus on phonological awareness, phonemic awareness, and it really does help predict where the students are at now and if they're going to get to grade level at the end of the year. So beginning of the year, we had 1 student. We doubled that to 2. I like to look at doubling. And then we doubled it to 4 in November. When I looked at, like I said, the iReady data, we have a lot of students that moved from that 3 grade levels below up to the 1 grade level below. And so we are making gains, just not going to be as green as some of the other schools. When you look at this slide shows you what % of students are on target. As you can see, we have 7% of students on target in grade 2, 8% in grade 4, and 8% in grade 5. We have 100% of our students meeting usage in grades 2, 4, and 5, and that's an important data point to look at because we want to make sure that our students are getting that usage and able to access this research-based program. This next slide shows you where students are working on grade level material. So at the beginning of the year, we only had 8% of our students who were working on grade level material. And now we have 33% of our students who are working on grade level material. So again, progress. We like to look at that progress and see where our students are at and making those gains. And when we jump down to our attendance data, I think this is a really big indicator, like Mr. Camacho said. Our students cannot be available to learn if they're not in person. So this is 3 years worth of data at the same time. So September, in comparing September 2023 all the way to September 2025. And so we have had a positive of 3.85 from 2023 to 2025 in September. Then for October, we had an increase of 3.62% from October 2023 to October 2025, and an increase of 4.02 from 2023 to 2025. So we're supporting that positive attendance, obviously, by having those opportunities for students to have these leadership opportunities of being able to greet students in the morning. There are gardeners, there are our daily announcement students. This morning, I had students, 2 of my students out of 3 who are on IEPs who did the announcements. Full confidence. They read it. It was smooth as butter, and it was amazing. And so the fact that those students even, number 1, came to school last year, 2 of them did not even want to come to school. The fact that they came to school, wanted to do the announcements, and then did the announcements over a loudspeaker, that takes an incredible amount of confidence. And they read perfectly. It just made my heart warm. So again, we celebrate that positive attendance weekly in our newsletter. We call families immediately if students have not shown up. We have behavior charts for students who struggle with coming in daily with tears. We have monthly incentives of popsicles and quarterly incentives and semester incentives with pizza parties and extra recess, raffles for bikes and gift cards, and we will be doing a game truck in June to celebrate this semester incentives. We've also established a PEP club, a yearbook club, and have great after school and before school programs that really encourage that student engagement, in attendance. So intervention supports that we've put into place. We have the Ms. Bonwell who's serving students at their different levels for Tier 2 and Tier 3, about 34 students. We have after school intervention using Read Naturally and Orton Gillingham strategies and resources with 2 of our certified teachers. We have 4 days a week of reading intervention groups provided for students as an extra dose of reading. All of our classified paras have been trained to work on progress monitoring skills. And we have math intervention support 2 days a week, and then 4 days a week of Lexia grade level support with a retired teacher. And then I'm getting my toe in the pool too, and I'm doing 4 days a week of intervention with all of my classes. And it's a joy because you go in one day, students may only know 1 letter, the next time you go in, and they know 4. And it's just exciting to see the kids want to share, you know. So today when I was in a 1st grade classroom, I came in a little bit late. I'm trying to think of why I came in late. I don't remember. But the students were like, you came in too late. We don't get to spend as much time with you. So that was really fun. All right, so upcoming events that we have. We have had an Indian Ed meeting. Excuse me, this is, I guess, I shouldn't have put that one on there. That was yesterday. That was a wonderful meeting. It was a 2-hour meeting. It was supposed to be a 1-hour meeting. It was a 2-hour meeting, and it was wonderful to get all those ideas and suggestions of how we could spend the JOM money. Charter Council meeting, that's going to be tomorrow. We have our Christmas holiday program next week. I invite all of you to attend, 10:45. We also have Santa Ken coming next week on Thursday with an elf, and we're pretty excited about that. All of our students also will be able to select a Christmas present from some donations from the Weir Family Foundation. I'm going to show you a picture in just a second. And then we've got, of course, Christmas break coming up and all sorts of wonderful things happening. So I want to share this with you so our students get to see this when they come in every day. As you can see, the mural is done and it's pretty beautiful. So this was done by Robert, one of our grounds crew, who comes about once every 2 weeks, and he's been doing this on his lunch break, which is a wonderful gift that he's been donating back to us. But all those different gifts, the students come in and they're like, oh, I want this one, I want that one. And the students are able to select those gifts based on their behavior. So we're pretty happy for them that they get to have that before the holidays. But our holiday program next week will be a wonderful time. We're going to be transforming our cafeteria into a winter wonderland. We'll have hot cocoa and, of course, some treats for everybody, and then we'll have a lunch on the lawn afterwards. So hopefully you'll be able to come. Again, it's been a wonderful first semester. It seems like a whirlwind, almost like a bit of a race. Not quite as slow as I'd like, but that's all right. And again, thank you for letting me share. And we wish you a very Merry Christmas. We're going to be sliding into my next hat with Bonsall Virtual Academy. So it's with pleasure that I share with you about BVA. We have 25 students in the program right now, 6 elementary, 7 middle, and 12 high school students. And our students have been working very, very hard to stay on track in their coursework, meet daily and weekly with Ms. Bruninger, and maintain passing grades, in their classes. Our students had their first field trip to the Bates Nut Farm with the ATP students in October, and our students had an amazing time. The students have been coming in person to do district assessments, as well as they come in to do their end of their coursework exams. And so what we're finding is that really helps with academic integrity and making sure that we know exactly where our students are at. So what that tells us is it helps us with our grade level distribution. So I'm proud to say that we had a 96% pass rate for our high school students for the first quarter. So the way the program has been designed for this year is the students are taking a semester-long class in a quarter, but they're taking half the classes. So 96% pass rate. I challenge you to find any high school that's offering those types of grades. But this is how the grades kind of fell out. We had 26.8% of our students receive an A, 43.9% of our students receive a B, 19.5% of our students receive a C, 4.9% of our students receive a D, and 4.9% of our students receive an F. And then for our elementary students, we have not had our grades finalized yet because we still have one more week left. So these are preliminary grades, if that makes sense. So the high school grades that were on the previous slide, those are final grades because those classes were finished at the quarter. These ones for our elementary and our middle school are preliminary, and they can go up or down depending on how the students do on their final exams. But right now you can see that we have quite a few of our students falling into the A category for those classes. We have, I believe, 63 classes being taken right now with a 95% pass rate for our students in elementary and middle school. And we have, like I said, 23 classes with an A, 15 classes with a B, 13 with a C, 9 with a D, and 3 with an F. So I'm hoping that those Fs move on over to the left before next week. And now our sweet little ATP students doing some art and working. I'm really pleased to share with you about our ATP students. They love doing art, and there are some amazing artists. In the ATP program, they work on developing those essential life skills, of course, as I've mentioned before, that helps best support their transition into the community post-graduation. Our students really, truly enjoy their art time, and research shows that our programs significantly benefit adult transition students by boosting their mental health, less stress and anxiety, more self-esteem, improving their cognitive skills, their memory, their problem solving, and enhancing that social emotional learning, that teamwork and that expression, and providing vital coping mechanisms and a sense of continuity, especially for those with trauma and developmental challenges. It helps to bridge that past experience with future goals and offers creative pathways for our students to build that resiliency and identity, aligning well with those adult learning principles. As you can see in these photos, our students absolutely love doing art. Look at their sweet faces. I just miss them so much. And our students, besides doing art, are also on the move in the community. So they take walks daily and sometimes twice a day. You probably recognize this from over here in the neighborhood. It's pretty beautiful at night as well. They prepare food for their food cart sales, and they're developing those essential skills of how to work in the hospitality field. When students are preparing items such as cookies, bars, and muffins, they're learning how to read a recipe. They're gathering the correct items, they're measuring, and they're baking. And the ATP room always smells amazing as they prepare these amazing items to be sold to the district employees. It's been a joy watching our students master the various roles of greeter, sales clerk, and support staff. And here we go with some more pictures. They just get so excited. Staff in both schools were treated to Christmas gifts. The Vivian Bank staff all received a handmade lunch bag with an eagle on it in Vivian Bank's charter school with a chocolate letter, because I am half Dutch, so they ought to have a chocolate letter for St. Nicholas Day, as well as a Starbucks gift card. And then our staff over here at the community center all received difference maker bags complete with chocolate candies, chocolate letters, and gift cards. Again, our staff works so very hard to make a difference in the lives of their students, and it's very much appreciated by me. And last, I'd like to share, here they are baking and cooking and enjoying Christmas. They're so stinking cute. And some upcoming dates. So as you know, we've got some in-person assessment for our middle and high school students for BVA. We've got the end of the semester coming up in a little over a week, and then Christmas break for everybody. So again, thank you again for allowing me to share these amazing things, and Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, and thank you for giving me the opportunity to share today. I really truly feel best.
Thank you. And that brings us to our board member reports. We'll start with our student board rep, Isla.
Good evening, everyone. So I'd like to start off by saying I've seen how involved the Paula Fire Department is at Vivian Banks. They are always there selling food and helping the students out, like at the Family Literacy Night and the Fall Fest in September. And it's great to know that the students have these role models there, and they're displaying the skills of service and kindness. And then the Sullivan Choir, of course, did an amazing job tonight, and I look forward to their performance next Tuesday for their winter performance. And I'm also really happy seeing all of the recognition for students at all the sites, because I'm sure that it's very encouraging for them to keep having good behavior and practicing leadership skills. As in terms of the high school, we haven't had too many like set events, but lots of activities going on. So first I'm going to start with the 2 events that we have had, both on the same day actually. So the Fallbrook Christmas Parade last Saturday, where we had a great turnout for the high school. Basically all of the ASB class was there. We had the cheer team as well as some of our other students, and we passed out candy canes and just shared our holiday spirit with the town of Fallbrook and Bonsall by giving out candy canes. I think I said that already, and then saying happy holidays and giving early Merry Christmases as well. And then that's earlier that day, mock trial had a scrimmage where we went against Coastal Academy High School, and our arguments were really good. We have a case on a mushroom poisoning, so quite interesting. And we are continuing to practice and prepare for our competition early next year. And then in terms of speech and debate, I want to bring up how students from last year have actually come to our meetings who have done speech and debate last year. And they are giving their support to us and their advice, and it's really helpful because they recently did speech and debate as well, so they know what they're talking about. And then in terms of sports, both girls and boys basketball have started their season really well. They're playing competitively, and girls basketball has a game next Thursday, so I'll be in attendance to just see how they're doing. So I look forward to that. And then Native American Studies actually had a field trip on Tuesday to the Palma Valley Wilderness Gardens, and this was actually their second field trip. They had one earlier in the semester to the Koopa Cultural Center, and their second field trip was actually part of a unit on environmental stewardship. And Mr. Hinchliff is the teacher of this course, so it's a really good example of how he's always putting in effort and trying to increase engagement and learning for his students, which we bring up every board meeting because it's well deserved. And let's see. Oh, and the academies, I know as Dr. Gawley mentioned, the ambassadors went to the elementary school last Friday and presented about the academies, and we just asked them like who wants to be a doctor and who wants to be a leader or a boss, and just got them involved, just thinking about what the academies consist of. It's definitely early, but it was great seeing how their energy and how much they enjoyed it. It was really great seeing them. And also in regards to the academies, the students have really enjoyed the competitions, as we call them academy clashes, and we have one this Friday. But it's not just about competing with the other students. There's also a lot of learning going on. Miss Erin is working really hard putting together field trips based on the pathways. And the ambassadors are also in the process of putting together inter-academy events. So like, for example, the Law and Leadership Academy, all the students will come together and engage, and it's just going to be still in the process of it, but we're hoping it's an experience where the students can bond with each other while also further exploring what the academy pathways entail in regards to their future. Mr. Van has been bringing people from specific pathway-related fields to give presentations to the students about their jobs. For example, we had an animal trainer for the medical academy give a presentation, and a studio artist for the Arts and Media Academy, and then specific people that we had come to the school were Dr. Gawley and Miss Ariano, so thank you very much. And it's great to have community members come talk to the students and give real life examples and their kind of story of how they got to where they are and the passion they have for their jobs. And yeah, so that's pretty much it. Students are busy studying for finals, which are happening next week, and we're definitely looking forward to the break. So I hope everyone has an amazing holiday. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Ortega.
Well, when I first set up here, well, I'm not going to have a whole lot to talk about, but as you know me, there's things that come up. I know Miss Calabrese put up there about the podcast thing I'm putting together, and there was so much information there that I actually have to apologize to the entire group, because we were there for over an hour, and my show was a half hour long. So there's a lot of things that got to be cut out. And one of the things I did cut out was the story about the Danish. I guess I'll start here. I've recently been telling the story about the local dairy farming and its importance in Southern California. And I mistakenly was saying that it was the Danish that did this, that it was the Danish people. And a friend of mine told me the story about his family. And somewhere along the line, I changed it from Dutch to Danish. So apparently, what it is, the Dutch are doing all this. And even though I was talking to my friend about it, and I apologized to him, he told me, you know, it's still a great story. And I go, it is a great story, but I'd like to get it right next time. So with help from my friends, as I got corrected on it. And but yeah, I did tell that story then, and I was corrected on it, and I researched it. Researched it by calling my friend up, and so now I'm going to tell the story correctly. But the importance of this story is that in our local community, there's so many stories, so many cultures that aren't being told. You know, the whole story about the dairy farming and its importance in Southern California. Everybody knew about it, but I don't think anybody realized the connection that the entire thing had. It was all one. It was pretty much all one country culture that was providing that, and so that was the necessary point behind the story. Is that there's a lot of stories out there that aren't being told. A lot of times I get asked to talk about Native American stories, as local Native American history, and I'm cool with that too, you know, because I do know a lot about that. But I also like to share that there's other stories there that aren't being told. I share a lot of the local Native American history because it's not being told. So I think I'm on a mission to try to, like, our entire district, our entire school district has a lot of stories in there that aren't being told. So anyway, going back to the podcast, yeah, I am going to have to cut a lot of the information out of there. I'll probably get away from more of the history. I was thinking about that too, but you know, Christmas, you know, the holidays are so soon that I know people want to hear them, and then you decide who's going to be in part 2 and not in part 1. That's going to be the hard part. So I figure I just cut everybody a little bit, and then we'll be able to fit everybody in. But the entire full interview will still be available if necessary. You know, it's not like I'm cutting out the original information, it's just cutting this to fit to the podcast, so it'd be available. And the information around CEI, will still serve the purpose of what it is to share the information about CEI to all of our people in our community. So I'm going to try to maintain that behind it. What else? The presentations today were awesome. Seeing everybody, and the Paula Fire Department, yeah, they're incredible over there. I know all of them very well. I've worked with all of them. They're incredible, and I can go over there, ask them anything, questions about any type of thing, and they help me out. And they're one of many entities that are very helpful in the community out there. What else did I wanted to bring that popped up? Oh yeah, seeing my sister up there doing the reading to the kids and stuff, and she was telling me about it. She said she had such a great time, that it was so put together so well that she just enjoyed herself, and the reception by the students, she loved it. She loved it, and I wasn't able to make it that day. I believe I was busy doing something else, as is usually the case, but I heard a lot of good feedback from it. A lot from my sister, but a lot from other people as well. And I think it was as well as many things that we're doing out across the district, doing a lot of good things across the district. And there's a lot of cool things going on at Vivian Banks as well. So that was partly my radio station hat, talking about the podcast. From a school board member's point of view, I do want to tell everybody happy holidays. It's been an honor working with you guys, you know, and for these years and stuff. And like I said, this is the time of year when it's actually, I don't know, not that it's not fun all year long, but it just seems a little bit more fun this time of year. Everybody just has kind of like a little lightheartedness about everything that's going on. And so when we get to these holiday times, and I think part of it's because everybody's looking forward to getting some time off. And so everybody's just a little bit more chipper. All the things that's going on, and that was a great report, by the way. I want to say that too. That was a great report. A lot of stuff in there I didn't know, and that's pretty much all I want to see. But there was a lot of things that just kept popping up through everything that's been going on tonight. Along with that, just hope everybody has a enjoyable vacation and enjoy some time with their families. And as you know, my time doesn't start. I'm heading off to Fullerton tomorrow. I know you're going to something too tomorrow, so I'm heading off to Fullerton tomorrow because my nephew is on the Valley Center High School football team, and they're going to the state championship tomorrow. Got to go show support. Not that I'm a proponent for football. I think football is a dangerous sport when it comes to the high school level, especially in a small school environment. I've seen it actually work against the students because I went to one program that had 13 students on the football team, and they had to play both ways. And by the second half, into the second half, they were getting tired, and they were starting to get a little hurt, and stuff. Because when you're tired, it's easy to get hurt in that sport. So, at the bigger programs, there's a lot of emphasis on it, and I can't say it's, a terrible thing, but I do think for our program here, probably wouldn't be the best thing for our students at this time on that level. Definitely, that's pretty incredible. And even on this high school football team, there's a lot of guys playing both ways as it is, but they still have subs to come in. Anyway, that's my rant for today, and I want to sum it all up with have a happy holidays, enjoy your time. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Ortega. Trustee Merchat.
I would like just to thank everyone for the wonderful reports, a lot of the detail that just really highlighted the passion that you have for the kids, which is just, that's that's really what makes the difference, and so I really enjoy that. And I enjoyed the choir. We were talking to Alan saying we thought we were going to get another one, but I guess that's how you leave them, right? Wanting more, you know. So happy holidays, and that's all I have.
Thank you. Trustee Gaddis.
And Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays to everybody. I was thinking when I was watching the choir, I started, for some reason, I never really think about my, my schooling when I was really young, but for some reason it popped up today. And when they were talking about the music program, I started thinking about when I was in 4th and 5th grade, and I thought, I remember that we had a dedicated music room, and you walked in there and had the greatest instruments you've ever seen. Never even heard of them, like xylophones and all kinds of stuff. I mean, it was a treat just to walk in there just to see all the instruments. I mean, and and I guess at the time when you're that young, you take it for granted that you have something like that. And I mean, the room was just filled with all kinds of stuff. Morocco. I mean, everywhere you looked, there was these, and the teacher knew how to play everything, right? And it was just phenomenal. And I, at the time, I was like, that's pretty neat. But, I realized later on in life that those things get stripped away with funding and stuff, and that's sad. And it's just like in my middle school, everybody in my middle school had to take home economics. And home economics was divided between sewing and cooking. And my school had a room that had 5 kitchens in it. And so you walk in this room, it's a giant room, it had 5 full kitchens in it. And then, we'd group up and everyone would go to, a kitchen. And then after the cooking detail, we'd go over to the next room and it had like rows of sewing machines and all kinds of stuff to teach you how to sew. And, we had the same thing for industrial arts. We had a wood shop and a metal shop. And this is all just in my middle school. And, and we had a full-size auditorium. Like you walk in, it was like for a middle school, it was great. And 2 gyms, a girls and a boys gym. And I started thinking, it's so sad because, at the time, I guess I took it all for granted and I didn't realize what it took to bring all that together. But, the reason I mention that is because, school goes in, there's scholastics, but then there's the other things that are there and that really make it special. So when you can see a choir like I did today that brings you back and you remember that kind of stuff and appreciate it, And so, I think our goal eventually is to try to bring some of this stuff back. I'm glad we have the music program that we do. I'd like to see it expanded upon. I'd like to see, more programs. Like, I know we'll probably never bring back home economics or anything like that, but to this day, just so you know, I know how to do things because of those classes. I was doing this thing with this light bulb, and my wife asked me, she goes, "How do you know how to do it?" And I started thinking, I'm like, that's because of wood shop. All those years ago, I never even thought about it. Now all of a sudden it's coming back to me, and I know how to wire that. But I mean, those kind of practical skills were really there. So all of that, that's what I was thinking when I saw them, and I'm just really grateful that we have that program, I guess is what I'm saying. So really, that's my rant of the day. So I just wanted to share that memory with you guys, and have great holidays, and thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Gaddis. So wrapping up the calendar year, I want to start by acknowledging the transition on our board. First, a heartfelt farewell to Trustee Pascal Lapourie, whose final statement will be read into the record today. Pascal has served Trustee Area A with sincerity, curiosity, and a real commitment to our students. His analytical contributions have mattered, and we are grateful for his time on this board, and we wish him the very best moving forward. With that, I'm also pleased to welcome Dr. Rachel Dombrowski as the new trustee for Area A. Thank you to her for stepping into this role and for her willingness to serve. And with her arrival and with the rest of the board continuing in our current roles, we're heading into the new year with leadership consistency. Tonight's facilities planning update is an important part of our agenda. As most know, our region continues to grow with nearly 1,200 new homes, and our BUSD facilities have to keep up safely, responsibly, in a way that best supports our students and staff, especially as we look to enhance our secondary programming. Our initial community outreach underscores the need to more fully evaluate all of our available assets, including the 50-acre parcel that's in the middle of the district that is currently undeveloped. The district has been working hard to seek feedback and keep everyone informed, and this update will help us understand what's needed now and what's coming next so we can plan accordingly. There's going to be a lot of workshops in the new year, so keep an eye out on the calendar to be part of those. We'll also be taking action later on this evening on the first interim report and the related budget solutions. These decisions aren't easy, but they are necessary to keep the district financially sound, to protect the programs and services that we have in place and that our families rely upon. And as we celebrate the winter holidays, I want to thank our teachers, staff, administrators, families, and all of our community partners who support events and programs across our schools. I also want to recognize our incredible students for showcasing excellence in academics as well as the arts, agriculture, and athletics. Your performances, exhibitions, competitions, and showcases this fall have brought so much pride and joy to our community. And thank you to my fellow board members for the steadiness and collaboration you continue to bring to our work. I hope everyone has a peaceful and restorative holiday season. And that takes us to the consent agenda. Is there a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously, bringing us to our information items. We do have that farewell statement that I mentioned a few minutes ago, and Dr. Ghali, as our secretary, will read that into the record.
From Trustee LaPrairie. Before sharing my final remarks, I want to briefly address the board and the community. As many of you know, I will be stepping down from my role as trustee due to an out-of-state relocation. My resignation is effective December 10th, and because I am unable to attend this meeting in person, Superintendent Dr. Heather Ghali has kindly agreed to read this statement on my behalf. Serving on the Bonsall Unified School District Board of Trustees has been an honor, one that has deepened my appreciation for our educators, our families, and most of all, our students. Although my time on the board is coming to an end, my belief in the mission and future of Bonsall Unified remains strong. What follows is my final statement as an active board member. Colleagues, members of the public, and members of our Bonsall community, thank you for allowing me to speak through this final statement. Tonight, I want to express a clear and straightforward intention that the district takes steps to visibly mark its 50-acre property on Gerd Road with a simple, respectful symbol, such as a flag or sign, indicating that it is Bonsall Unified School District land. For years, this property has remained quiet and unused. Many pass by without knowing its purpose. As a result, a perception has grown that the land is simply open space or something meant to remain untouched forever. That perception does not reflect our responsibility as a school district. This land is held in trust for the educational future of our students. As stewards of public resources, we must ensure that all district assets are recognized, understood, and prepared for future use, whether that use is a school, administrative space, or another student-serving purpose. Marking this land is not about escalation. It is about clarity and transparency. It signals that the district values its resources and is committed to long-term planning. It reminds our community that this property is not abandoned, forgotten, or merely decorative. It has a purpose, even if that purpose is still on a future timeline. Acknowledging the land publicly does not prevent us from respecting the surrounding community or the beauty of the area. Rather, it invites honest conversation based on facts instead of assumptions. Visibility builds understanding, and understanding builds trust. Our role is to maximize the use of district resources carefully and responsibly. Making this property identifiable is a modest but meaningful step toward fulfilling that duty. It reaffirms that we are planning ahead for the needs of Bonsall's children and that we see this land as part of their future. So my intention tonight is simple. Let us make this property visible, let us affirm its purpose, and let us keep faith with the families who rely on us to act as careful, transparent stewards of the district's future. Thank you.
Thank you for that statement. And that brings us to our presentation this evening from Ms. Caroline Brown. Thank you for being here and sharing the latest updates as it relates to facilities.
Yes, good evening. Thanks for having me. We are going to go through a board update on the facilities, and I'm going to report on what we talked about on the December 3rd agenda, as well as some early draft of demographics. and our engagement schedule. So it'll be very brief. Dr. Golly went over the vision and mission earlier, so we won't do that. At the December board meeting, at the December study session, we had Terry Tao, attorney, come and discuss the evaluation of property. And so he visited the GERD Road site. He did some research on the GERD Road site, and he visited the day that on the 3rd of December. So we're going to go through a couple little facts that we can make sure are on the record for what we have on the GERD Road property. So it's 49.78 acres. Its designation in the county is to be public, semi-public, or A70 limited agriculture, depending on what action the board takes on the use of the property. It's hilly. There's some terrain there. We have a fire zone that we need to be concerned about. And then the zoning, if it were to be developed, if somebody came along and wanted to develop it, looks like the area is on 2-acre parcels. So it would, if it be developed something like the surrounding area, each parcel would be 2 acres. Maximum 2 stories. Could be a single family, detached, mixed. Have to check in with the airport compatibility and other restrictions. The other thing that he talked about is the change in the Surplus Land Act, whereby there's a new opportunity for a joint occupancy that a school district can take advantage of without surplusing the property. The joint occupancy is taking the district property on a long-term lease, creating maybe an income stream for the district's facilities program, ensuring that the property use is focused on what enhances the school district and is compatible with the neighborhood. And the joint occupancy ed code section is there. It would be an arrangement that could be a 99-year lease with an entity. It could be a situation whereby we take the 50 acres and take a few acres for school purposes, a few acres for joint occupancy improvements, and then have a development on the other side of it. Some of the considerations might be to do a collaboration with medical use, senior or workforce housing, maybe some residential, maybe some light retail. Special uses, those were the ones that Terry Tao came up with, but then when we were talking amongst ourselves, we thought maybe a performing arts or media venue or a research facility or a biotech kind of lab. So that concludes the section of the presentation by Terry on the property evaluation and disposition. And then we also shared at the December meeting that we have approximately 500 responses on the survey. 400 of them are actually complete. And so we provided some of those results. And then the summary of the narrative responses kind of focused on 4 top goals, and that is to utilize existing assets, to consider the consistent configuration of grade levels, TK6, and balancing the enrollment at our elementary schools, and to further separate the middle and high school. And then the 5 most important facilities needs across the district are listed there in order of priority. So traffic, the overcrowding capacity, the separate high school, middle school, student safety, and the condition of the Sullivan Middle School site. And so the direction that we agreed upon would be to go out to the survey to determine the level of support for the community would have for a potential development opportunity on GERD, or what other facilities initiatives that people would support. And so we're under development with the survey now, and so we'll be bringing some of those for your review before we publish it. I believe we want to publish it in December so that we can have some results at the January 12th staff meeting for them to do. So that feeling very joyful. Well, we might want to look at how that timeline rolls, but we'll have some preliminary people taking it to make sure we have the right questions. Yeah. And so demographics, I've got some early information for you on demographics. We had projected last year that the TK, K, and 1 would be a little bit higher, but we did see some decline in the TK, K, and 1 this year, which was unexpected. And then we have the decline, and it was further decline from the 8th grade to 9th grade, and then we had some additional decline between 6th and 7th that wasn't expected. So those are your totals by grade level. You can see that we've got some classes in 2nd, 3rd, 2nd, 4th, and 6th that are strong, 180 to 200, but the other ones are waning a little bit. But TK came in strong at 125, but didn't meet what we had originally projected it to be. We forecasted to be 120. Okay, so it's 125. It's pretty close. Yeah. But we had projected 154 for K, and it came in at 135. So on the next slide, we have totals. So resident students, we have 1,858. Students not in the forecast are your interdistrict transfers, which is 315 right now, bringing you to a total as of October 1st of 2025 of 2173. So going out a few years, we'll see a little bit of recovery in the resident students because we're going to start seeing students coming from the Ocean Breeze and Havens additional homes. So you can see that it's going to go from 1858 up to the 2000s in 2030. And then our interdistrict transfers are being projected at the same, if not growing, and bringing the total students next year to potentially close to the same because we've got some small classes coming in and some large classes going out. The forecast for 2025 was 2326. We were about 150 shy. So you can see in 2027 that the net change is anticipated to be 50, and that's going to be a result of your new developments. They do include Vivian Banks. Okay, so then I updated this slide. We've got engagement coming. The Parent Community Forum, January 21st. The all-staff meeting on January 12th. We have the board study session January 7th. And then the February one will be the 3rd or the 5th. I've reached out to the vendor to talk about what date works best for that. And then February 26th, Area A, March 16, Area D, March 23rd, Area E, April 14th, Area C, and April 23rd, Area B. And that's updated based on our conversation at the organizational meeting today. So then any discussion items, any questions that you would like to get answered today?
I have an off-the-wall question. So be ready to dance. If we wanted to put like a small building up on Gird Road property, would a CEQA need to be done if it's a very low impact building, like not a huge structure, but say like a 2,000 square foot building, water, power, and sewer?
Yeah, anything you do will need to go to CEQA.
Because I understand that there's small projects that could be considered exempt from CEQA.
So I can check on the specific if you're thinking 2,000 or 3,000 square feet, but if you're adding any sort of use, if it's going to be increasing people on the site by X amount of students or X amount of people, which would trigger traffic, and it's my understanding that they would need CEQA. an exemption for CEQA on like the elementary school is if we were going to add 25 kids in 4 classrooms, that wouldn't qualify because the cutoff is like 10 classrooms and 50 students. So there's certain levels that can get exempt. Does that help?
It helps, because I was thinking maybe something like a business office or something that wouldn't have a lot of people involved in it.
I can check with Terry and I can get back to you.
I'd like to revisit our previous trustees' statement where there was essentially a motion to put some sort of monument or flag or sign, especially as we're looking for feedback, and to Trustee Merchat's point that it's the holidays. And I know we're being very, very vocal as a district, making sure that the word is getting out there in many ways about where we're exploring with our facilities, but maybe it makes sense to put some sort of sign that has maybe a QR code that goes to the website. We have a lot of facilities updates that are being put on, communicated on that forum. So I think that that's maybe something that we should look into and then bring back some suggestions to the board on what that looks like from a logistical perspective. And then to Trustee Ortega's point, as it relates to CEQA, as we start looking into not just putting a monument or sign or whatnot on the Bird Road property, but what would it actually look like? Because from what I understand, even though we've started exploration almost a decade ago, or maybe even more now, as it related to the land use, that it's now a new time frame, and so we need to revisit that process. And if we can maybe look into what that entails from a cost and timeline perspective, so that we can be prepared to have things happen in tandem as it relates to what it is that we want to do with that property.
Yes. There is a sign on the fence that says it's Bonsall Unified School District, but it's kind of small. So are you thinking like the size of a banner? Are you thinking
She's
the
thinking
size?
Las Vegas type, you know.
You know,
Neon lights,
neon
maybe a
lights,
big
yeah, right.
arrow,
Wah,
you know,
wah.
something like that.
While we're at it.
Yeah.
I know that, for example, when we were exploring the property over at Citro, there was a monument, it's a future site of, and unfortunately with the failure of the 2024 bond attempt, that asset was not acquired. So,
Right.
I mean, I don't even know if we can maybe, whatever happened to that sign, was it still there?
That was a developer sign, so.
If you want to give it to us,
Oh, there you go.
we can put it up there, but something that, maybe our logo, with this little schoolhouse and the bridge, QR code to,
Yeah, good idea.
Whatever looks like it might be cost effective and a way to make sure that we're keeping our community engaged.
I think dealing with that company, they'd want to sell it to us, and I don't think we want to know what it would cost.
Okay. They have to get power over there first, right? Okay, that just in closing, we are posting all of the presentations and all of the data and information on the district's website, so it's available for people.
And can I just clarify then, is that a suggestion that we should find information about what that would entail?
I think if we
To
can
put-
come back
a
to the next
timeline.
board meeting and give us some suggestions as to, or even before the, whatever that looks like in terms of, moving forward with putting something a little bit more prominent and making sure that we're, engaging the community with, our intentions.
And I think something similar to what was at the Citro property.
We have that on the corner piece of property also, when we had the fire station.
Yeah, we could.
If you want, you might as well do both.
Well, that's attached to this site, so
We don't know who owns it though.
if that's something that we want to explore.
I'm for branding everywhere.
Okay.
Brand. Hey, I have a question. Related to our town hall meetings that we're supposed to have, I want to make sure that we do a very good job of getting the word out for those, because I know it's going to be, I just don't want to sit in a room and there's not going to be anybody there, you know what I'm saying? And I know that when I've spoken to people in the past about, a lot of people just seem to not know things are going on. And I know we put them into the online and stuff, but not everybody is either doing that or social media. So I think we're going to have to do something that is, I know we don't do mailings that often because they are somewhat expensive, but I think for these particular things, we send out ahead of time and say, hey, we're going to be doing it. We need to hit them by air, by sea, and by land. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. If we need to make this, if we want community engagement, we need to make sure that we get to the community. Not everybody reads the newspaper. Not everybody reads. So if we're going to really get to them, that's what we need to do.
I agree. We've done some beautiful mailings in the past. It might be a good opportunity to provide our broader community with some general updates as to what we're just doing generally, as well as include, like we have in our reports that our site administrators do, looking ahead and have the dates and maybe even have a map of the district. There's lots of possibilities there, but I know we've had those beautiful 8.5 by 11s that have gone out and have been very well received when we've had public comment by some community members that have mentioned receiving that, so it might be an opportune time, especially in advance of, the time where people start, shopping competitive districts, so to speak.
Right. Good. Thank you.
Thank you. And that brings us to the action items of today's agenda. And we are going to start with the presentation of the fiscal year 2025-26 first interim report. And Ms. Laura Castro looks like she's passing out some handouts. That was Pascal's. You have copies. Thank you.
Is it good night already? Past my bedtime? Just kidding. Well, good evening, good night, Board of Trustees. So it's time for the first interim report. As a requirement, as part of the school districts and the reporting financial. And the deadline is the 15th of this month, where we need to submit the information to the county. So we're going to start with the planning factors, like always. We want to see what data we're utilizing in order to do the projections. So for the 25-26, the COLA is 2.30%. And we see that and a slightly increase over the years for the following 2 years, 3.02 and 3.42. The COSTERS, the contribution that the district does, is steady, so it remains flat for the quarter in the following 2 years. CalPERS will see an increase. So for the current year 2681, it ends on the last year on the projection on 27.80%. The CalPERS is for classified employees. And then we see the enrollment. The first line, which says just enrollment, is for BUSD. So according to the numbers on the census day on October, we have an enrollment of 2,135 for the district, and for BBM banks, 54. Then for the district, we're projecting flat for the following 2 years. At budget adoption, we were projecting a little bit increase until we find out that that the enrollment went down. So for BBM banks, we are projecting a slightly decrease. We did see a big decrease this year compared to prior year. So the projected ADA consequently went down as well. We're projecting it flat, and it's the ratio between enrollment and ADA is about 95%, I'm sorry. And we're projecting flat for the 3 years. Except for BBM banks, we're just slightly decreasing it. And then unduplicated pupil count. These numbers that you see here for 25, 26, and 959 it was a preliminary number. The actual number is 978 and 41 for BBM banks. Right there is 38. That's a preliminary number. We did use those on the LCF calculator, so we have a little bit of cash on. That difference between the 959 and the 978 is about $12,000 that we will receive in addition to for unduplicated pupils. So we're going to move forward. Looking just at the general fund, the total projected revenues for this fiscal year will be $36 million. Then you can see the LCFF sources, which is our major revenue line, is 72%. And this is based on ADA. So the other ones, a lot of them are represented by grants. We have the other local revenue, $2.93 million. That represents 8%. That includes transportation fees, some sped pass through the county revenue. Impact aid is considered local, even though it's a federal, because it's considered unrestricted, so it goes there. We have medical is the resource that is part of the local as well, and the interest. We have ROP that is provided by the counties, about $100,000 as well. Then for the state revenues, we have a lot of grants for the CTE program that are part of those 5.8 millions, and we have the SPED also revenue. Federal is most all the titles, and some federal revenue for special education as well that we receive is represented by 1.4 million, which is 4% of the total pie. All those resources give us a total of 36.8 million. Then we have our expenditures for 40.5 million. This is a combination between restricted and unrestricted. So I explained before that if we look at just the unrestricted side of it, we are in imbalance. Our revenues are higher than our expenditures, but we're combining over here in this presentation both. The reason, one of the major reasons for these expenditures exceeding the revenues is the special education contribution. It's a restricted program, and that's the reason why we are in higher expenditures than revenues. So we talk about, if you can see, the 80% of the expenditures represent the salaries and benefits for all the district positions, classified, certificate, and management, everyone. Then we have the capital outlay, just clarifying, we had projected $399,000. We utilize it, or it's coming out of the general fund, just because it's either a donation or restricted fund that is allowed to pay for those projects. We have paid the playground trade structure at the beginning of this year, the part of it. We just purchased a van through one of the grants for the one of the CTE programs. Also, we're projecting to do update the phone system in some of the sites. That's part of that too. And we did a roof repair during the summer on Sullivan, and then a replacement of the carpet here and painting the building at the community center. So those are part of the capital outlay expenditures, but as again, is not unrestricted. It's either a donation or is a restricted funding that we can use for those purposes. And then you see the other 40% services and operating expenditures and 3% of book and supplies. That gives us a total of 40 million on expenditures. This is just a summary for the current year. Total revenue is 36 million. We have the total expenditures of 40 million. We have a deficit, if we subtract them, at 3.7 million right there. And then we have to add to that deficit the transfers out of the fund. For this particular report, because we were looking at the adjustments and everything, every single transaction, every single line, Then BBM Banks, we were looking at it, the transfers out to that site or to that fund. And then originally it was around $500,000. It was reduced to 455. And the other 51 difference for the 506, the $51,000 is for the daycare, pound 63. So those two in combination give us the $506,000 right there that we had to add to the deficit. The $81,000, because it's the way that it needs to be reported, it's just a subscription for the Qualtrics, I think it's called. We had to report it that way, and it's considered like this part is the revenue, but then it's another part that is upsetting this. So this is a wash up. It's just GASB requirements to report it that way. But if I don't include it here, the addition and the subtractions will not give you the total number there. That's why I had to explain you that. Now that is something critical. So we have then when we subtract or add those 5,600, we have the net decrease in fund balance of 4.15 million. We add the beginning balance, 10.3, give us a total balance that is projected at the end of this fiscal year, 6.1 million. Those 6.1 million are compounded with the following items, which we have the revolving fund cash fund for emergencies, $20,000. We have the restricted funding, 2.3 million. Out of that, we do have the new grant that it was received for school student support, professional development, discretionary block grant. That's about the total for that grant is $655,000. I believe we collect part of it, $437 so far. We do have other grants right there, like the Gold State Pathways for $384,000, dual enrollment opportunities, $159,000, and then the rest is the $8150, which is the restricted maintenance account for $1.4 million. All of that gives us the $2.3 million. Then the 3% that is a requirement for us for the size of our district that is reserved for economic uncertainties is to 1.2 million. That difference give us an assigned or available 2.5. All of that in combination give us 6.19 million. That is the balance projected for June 30th, 2026. Then we have the major changes from budget adoption. We already talked about this, I guess, in several opportunities. We have enrollment decrease, so BUSD decreased by 71, BBM Banks by 20. Because of that, consequently, we have a domino effect on ADA. So ADA always cannot be, it's not perfect, right? We know it's rare you have a perfect attendance, so it's always lower than your enrollment. So at budget adoption, we had 2.116.88 estimated ADA. For the first interim, we have 2.33, but that number right there, 2,096, is the funded ADA. What happened is that you are funded in the current or prior year, whichever ADA is higher. In this case, that's helping us because it's only the difference, 20.53 ADA between what we projected at the beginning of the year and right now. That's why on the next box, you will see the LCFF funding adjustments. The decreased funding is only $336,000 versus comparing you're going to do the math for 71 reduction on the students. But that's the reason why, because funded in prior ADA or current ADA, whichever is higher. We also see an increase in ticket add-on. It was approximately close to $2,000 for TK ADA. It changed from the budget adoption to this date. So that represents $206,000 in addition to. Then we do have a big increase in special ed services due to increase in students identified. And that includes adding other staff positions related to special education and also contracted services. At least part of the contracted services, I had to increase the budget for $235,000 for non-public school out of state, and the rest related to staffing. Then we received new grants. I already mentioned the student support block grant, $655,000, and then the middle college, early college, $250,000 that we received. Again, these are restricted. Some of them, like the discretionary block grant, is a little more flexible, and we're really asking, to benefit the budget to the extent possible. We have also a decrease in health and welfare. It's about 10%, and that represents about $190,000 in general. So this is a multi-year projection. I don't know if you can see. With my glasses, I can see. So the first section is already what we already digest, or we went through it, which is the current year, 25-26. The ending balance is $6.19 million, and that represents 9.24% in reserve. If you go to this middle section, which is 26-27 fiscal year, we are under the minimum required reserve. It's a little bit less than 1%. We're required to have a 3%. So the number a negative number right there, that represents the amount that is needed for that year to cover. Obviously, when reductions or adjustments are done, the sooner the better, because in pounds in the following year. Then the third year out, that's when we're on the red, so it's minus 7.12% in the reserve. You will see right there the required reserve amount, and then if we were over under the reserve, what is the amount that we were over under by year. And that's the current projection for the current year and the following 2 years, how the things are right now. We're hoping to receive good news from the state for the governor's budget projections that are going to be presented in January. And then this is concluding the presentation. It's just recommending and asking the board for the approval of our first interim report with qualified certification. And also to approve the resolution to budget reductions for following 2 years, 26-27 and 27-28, so we can address the shortfall in the fiscal years that are coming.
Thank you, Ms. Castro.
Thank
That was
you.
a lot of work. These interim reports are critical for us to understand where we are with the financial state of the district, and appreciate the presentation. Is there any questions or discussion amongst the board?
Thank you.
Then at this time, is there a motion to approve the first interim
Motion
report?
to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously. Bringing us then to the second of Mrs. Castro's requests of consideration, which is resolution number 25-12-01, identifying the amount of budget reductions needed in 26-27 and the 27-28 fiscal years. Is there a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously, bringing us to action item 9.3. This is to replace 21 cameras at Bonsall Elementary School with Vericata Security Camera Project and 5-year service agreement. Is there a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously, bringing us to action item 9.4. This is a memorandum of understanding between Bonsall Unified School District and Fallbrook Unified Elementary School District for bus and van maintenance for the 25-26 school year.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously, bringing us to agenda item 9.5. This is to approve the purchase and installation of a portable classroom at Vivian Banks Charter School from Mobile Modular and utilize the Santa Rita Unified School District piggyback contract. And this is going to be coming from our after-school funding. I'm sorry, ELA funding.
I also understand that it was already purchased. The modular was already purchased. No?
We approved something many times, but it never hasn't been able to get done because of things that got in the way. There was stuff there that had to be removed, right, from the job, from the site, and so this is for real now. It'll happen. Motion to approve.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye. Seems like deja vu, but we've approved it several times.
How many of these do you think it's out?
There's like 10 of them out there.
Bringing us to agenda item 9.6. This is an agreement between California State University San Marcos and Bonsall Unified School District for 5-day innovative design thinking workshops for our Bonsall High School programs.
Motion to approve.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously, bringing us to action item 9.7. This is a linkage agreement between Clear Digital Labs and Bonsall Unified School District for the pre-apprenticeship program.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously, bringing us to action item 9.8. This is a ratification to the amendments of the master contract between Bonsall Unified School District and New Directions Solutions LLC, doing business as ProCare for the 25-26 year. So it's increasing the LPN hourly wage from $51 an hour to $51 to $60 an hour range.
I have a comment on this. There's no maximum on this. It's another one of those issues that comes up. It's approving the thing, but it's like a blank check. I mean, it doesn't say what the maximum would be if they want to bring it back to us if they reach a certain threshold.
We have 2 LVNs, and we had them last year as well. And that's the only 2 that we were paying for through ProCare. So I can bring that maximum back.
And does their contract specify a set number of hours?
They're full-time now.
So they're full-time, so it would just be, that would be the maximum, it would just be the full-time contract that they have? Maybe we can bring that back?
So do we want to remove this item from consideration this evening? Or when you say bring it back, or what do you?
Well, I can bring back the maximum amount as trustee Ortega wants, but not again. They've been working and getting paid less than, so we need this new contract to make sure that they continue working and getting paid at the price that their contract get paid.
So if I'm understanding what you're saying is that we need to reestablish the salary range sooner than later, but we can still bring back an action, it would be an action item in the future, or it would be an information item just specifying the maximum impact, financial impact.
Yes, and going forward, I will include that on those contracts.
Thank you. With that in mind, is there a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously, bringing us to our last action item for the evening, 9.9. This is the master contract between Bonsall Unified School District and Terry for the 25-26 year.
I'll motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I'll make a comment on that as well. There's no maximum on that one as well. It's like a blank check. And I trust you, but our constituents say we can't just give blank checks out to everybody.
I was following the practice of what had been done previously in this district, but if that's a practice that you want to change, I agree with you.
I thought we'd been doing back.
We've had multiple iterations of the way information's been presented, depending on who's been creating the agenda items, so.
Maxes.
Maximums would be fantastic. Thank you so very much. Appreciate it. In which case, we are now at the public comment portion of our meeting. Is there any public comment today, Ms. McInerney? Okay, that's a little early Christmas present so that we could actually leave before 10 p.m. today. That brings us to future planning. As the board discussed in our organizational meeting, we will continue to meet, generally speaking, on the second Thursdays of the month, with a few exceptions. That includes January. In January, we'll be meeting on the third Thursday of the month. That is January 15th. And then we also, just to bear in mind, there's that Parent and Community Forum that was highlighted in Caroline Brown's presentation on January 21st. And there's that board study session that's TBD, but either February 3rd or February 5th, and we'll learn more about that as well. So those are some future planning pieces. Oh, and I'm sorry, I missed the first one on the top of the list. January 7th is also a board study session. So we have a number of extra meetings and opportunities for community feedback and listening, especially as it relates to our facilities. And with that, we shall adjourn at 8:39, and I wish everyone a very merry holiday season.